the Warriors-Lakers game here in Los Angeles last night. She joins us now to discuss what she saw and what she heard. Warriors won for the 8th time in their last 9 games, won for their 16th time in their last 20 road games, won easily, 134-120. Rachel, your biggest takeaway?
I would just say that the Warriors look more comfortable and confident than I have seen them all season. It just feels like everyone finally knows what they're supposed to do, and they know
looking like
their
Warriors?
roles.
Well,
they first, before you can be exceptional out on the court, you have to feel good when you walk out onto the court. And when we look at some of the guys, say Chris Paul, right? He is clearly comfortable now with being the general of his own sort of second unit. Steve Kerr said last night it's the first time since he's been there as coach that he doesn't worry about those non-Steph minutes the way that he used to. You look at Klay Thompson. Do you remember a couple months ago, it was in Brooklyn, a post-game locker room. It was the first time he'd been benched down the stretch. And he just looked like he wanted to go sit in a dark room for 6 months. He looked so unhappy. Last night in the locker room, he's joking with me about his baby Yoda socks. He's talking to Chris Paul about when he's going to take him out on the boat. And then Draymond Green, who obviously...
By the way, Klay's back in the starting lineup.
Yeah,
okay.
But the Draymond Green, obviously, very tumultuous season. However, he's having quietly the best three-point shooting season of his entire career. Steve Kerr said that the coaches actually talked to him in the exit interview last year and said, we need you to work on this. We're going to change the way we play you a little bit next year. We need you to spend the summer working on your shot. And he did that. And his hips are healthier than they've been. And that allowed him to open up a little bit. He's shooting nearly 40% from 3. That is a sentence about Draymond Green I did not expect to be saying. But again, that is the kind of thing where they are all comfortable with what they want to be doing out there. And when the Warriors are comfortable, when Steph Curry is comfortable, I mean, that is a dangerous team no matter what seed they are in the standings. As for the Lakers, my impressions there, I'm not worried about them because Anthony Davis, I believe, will be back and playing. And when he is back and playing, he just covers up so many mistakes. They were making defensive switching errors. I mean, just basic stuff that Anthony normally can cover up because he's back there. So if someone gets through, it's fine. I think that he will be playing once they get to the play-in. I think he'll be playing by the end of the regular season. So I think this is still the Lakers team that you've been so encouraged about, Key, in the last couple months. It just without their big guy in the middle, and maybe fans should appreciate Anthony Davis a little bit more.
Yeah,
because he makes such a difference.
The moment you start appreciating him, then he misses a game or two because of unfortunate incidents that occur. So I get it. Look, the Warriors, there's no defense for 26 threes being made. Yeah. There's just nothing. You can say, well, they can get out there. Well, yeah, you didn't expect Draymond Green to go 5 from 5 in the first half. They was like, go ahead, he's with us, shoot. And then they go in, they go ahead, he's with us, shoot. It goes in again. It kept going in, and at that point, you don't allow him to get 15 points. So you put yourself behind the 8 ball right then and there. Then you got Chris Paul. Like I told Skip, everybody that played for them that had significant minutes, 12 or more, they hit a 3. Literally everybody. And then even Chris Paul, somebody who doesn't necessarily take threes, was knocking down shots. Wiggins knocking them down. Then obviously between Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, that's just their normal game, no matter what you do with them. They gonna pull the trigger and knock shots down. The problem that I have for us and what scares me the most is if LeBron has an off night for whatever weird reason, or AD doesn't play for whatever weird reason, my other guys are supposed to be my scorers, and D'Lo gives me what he gave me last night. And I know, well, he scored 44 against Milwaukee. He's a three-point, he's a scoring machine. That's cool. But he didn't do it last night. And then Austin Reeves hit a couple threes.
He had 4.
So he had 4 threes.
You don't like him, but you got to give him 4.
But his stuff didn't look like it should have looked, in my opinion.
Really?
Based on what we come to expect from him.
Man, I get a
little kind of. Yeah, y'all looking at just him scoring. I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at the defensive side of the ball. I'm looking at, much like you said, switching off, trying to get out and cover on defense. Yeah, he's hustle, man. He does all those things correctly, but I need more, especially when LeBron is carrying the load. When you know LeBron is only shooting 3 times from the three-point line, you got to cash in.
Well, he did. 4 out of 7.
Not just him, everybody.
D'Lo's got to come to the party.
He's got to come to the party.
Okay, let's address AD once and for all.
Okay.
What did you hear? Because it was concerning. I told you Darvin Ham looked tight-lipped to me and terse after the Sunday night game. And now they're saying, wait a second, he's got nausea and headaches, which are concussion syndrome. So I think he didn't get poked in the eye, he got smashed in the face. So what do you hear about
his... Well, he's not in the concussion protocol. Okay. The Lakers confirmed that. It's a little bit of a confluence of events because LeBron James didn't play the other night because he had the flu. Yep. We have seen over and over again this season, when LeBron gets sick, Anthony Davis gets sick. They sit next to each other in the locker room. They're next to each other on the bench a lot.
So you think he had flu-like symptoms?
It might be hard to tell, right? Because if a guy has a headache and nausea, is that because he got a hit in the head? Is that because he's starting to come down with the flu? I mean, the body doesn't give you all of that information. But I will say this about Anthony Davis and your point about these guys making these mistakes and the others and everything. They do that all the time. AD's just there to fix it. Yeah. One thing the Warriors kept talking about last night is he goes, I can't, you know, the guys kept saying, they're like, I can't believe how much they were sagging off of us. Well, guess what? The problem is Anthony Davis is normally back there, and that lets them play a little bit freer, lets them play out a little bit more. And that's why when you say, oh, man, there's no cure for these guys hitting threes, well, there is. It's playing defense differently, which you can do when Anthony Davis is in the lineup. There's just no cure for it when he's not. So it's not a surprise to me that when you have one of the two future Hall of Fame players on your team out, that you don't win basketball games. Like, I just think that you have to look at the bigger picture of these last two losses with the Lakers were because of these injury issues, and that once they are solved, which they should hopefully be by the end of the week, they'll be okay.
But you just hit us with little-known fact. Draymond shooting 40% from three.
Yep.
You don't think the Lakers scouting report
might have mentioned that?
You don't think they saw that before the game as they're flipping through the report in the locker room? And yet they came out and gave him the Caitlin Clark treatment. They just waved at him. The whole first half, they're saying, just go ahead. Just go ahead. Just go ahead and shoot. And he made another one. And he made another one.
No, but I'm saying the way you look at something, because even though the statistics suggest something differently on your scouting report, you look at that, but your eyes say he ain't going to keep that up. That's what he's not going to keep it up.
And then after he made all five, Austin Reeves had him in the third quarter, and he went to the corner and got a wide-open three, and Austin literally just went like that.
And he hit it on the other side of the rim. It went on the other side of the rim.
It did, to your point. He missed the next two.
That's what I'm saying, Rachel. They look at that and they go, he's with us.
Yes.
All right.
Look, I don't think the Warriors are going to have a historic shooting night all the time, but if you play defense the way the Lakers had to play defense last night, because without AD there, they're going to have a historic shooting night. That's
all right. So check this out. So they have played now 4 times, Warriors-Lakers this year. Golden State in those 4 games, 3 of which they won, has averaged 134 points a game. That's a lot of points. In those 4 games from 3, they've shot 45%. That's outrageously good and wrong for the Lakers. So the Lakers allow 14 a game, which is the 3rd worst in the league. And against this team, they allow 20 a game for those 4 games. 20 a game? Keyshawn, you're going to lose every game. And you were lucky to win one in double overtime, in which you outscored them 145 to 144. So my point is, looming in a week could be a Golden State Lakers matchup. It could be here. It could be there.
Well, it might be there because LeBron want to be in the 10th seed.
Okay, well, he might want to.
According to Skip.
Well, why wouldn't he look at that and say, well, wait a second, wouldn't that be a crowning achievement? What could he do then? He could put his crown on.
See, I deal with this every day.
Yeah.
A guy wants to be the 10th seed in the playoffs, so he can put his crown on.
Why wouldn't he like the matchup better? Because Golden State is all of 1 game over 500 at home. Wouldn't you have a better chance there than here? Because Golden State's won 16 of its last 20 road games. That's spectacular. So I would fear them more here than there in a do or die. That's just me. More here, because they have found themselves on the road. And I don't know why, because they used to own their home when it was across the bay, when it was at Oracle, but they don't own their new home like they own their old home. I'm just saying, it is looming like it's going to be 1 game, do or die. Is that how it shapes up?
Certainly is how it's feeling. Look, the Warriors got their path opened a little bit last night, right? So if they win out and Los Angeles loses, I think, 2 of 3 or something like that,
well,
then
they just have
Warriors,
2 left.
Right, then the Warriors go up into the 8th seed. I think, obviously, Sacramento has some influence there.
They do.
The Warriors' schedule is a little bit easier. The Lakers' schedule should be pretty easy in Memphis, but then they play a Pelicans team, and we don't know what the Pelicans are going to be playing for at that point. So there's a lot of questions. I know the Warriors had thought there was no shot they were getting into 8, and then after the game last night, they started talking a little bit about how they could get into 8. One thing that worries me about the Warriors for them in terms of what their future might look like, and maybe in that do-or-die play-in game if it happens, is we look at that Boston-Milwaukee game last night, right? 2 free throws for the entire game, and none for Boston.
Yeah.
Well, the Warriors are a team that depends on their free throws, right?
Yeah.
Steph Curry, 92% free throw shooter this season. Klay Thompson, 92% free throw shooter this season. You take those away, I'm curious if the play-in game, if the playoff games are going to be called the way the regular season games of the last 2 months are going to be called. And look, we always know playoff games are called more, you know, they let them play a little bit more anyway. They tend to be a little bit more physical anyway. But if that is the direction the league is going and then it even gets more like that during the playoffs, remember, too, the 2016 NBA Finals. One of the reasons the tide turned was not just Draymond Green and the suspension and all of that, that the Cleveland Cavaliers started playing Steph Curry so much more physically. They were beating him up. And you know LeBron James remembers that. And if all of a sudden there's more leeway in the league to play physically against these guys without getting called for it, that could affect the Warriors, too. So I'm very interested to see if we get to that play and what happens.
After the Bucks game last night, Damian Lillard flat out said that it feels to him like they're just letting us play now. They don't call me when I foul somebody, and I don't get calls at the rim like I used to get. And he, Doc actually attributes it to our commissioner, who is saying, I want the games to run smoother and not have these late game parades to the free throw line.
Which is what the fans want, by the way. But I think as we talk about this potential Warriors-Lakers matchup, do or die next week that could happen, that is a factor we should all keep in mind, because that benefits the Lakers more than it would benefit the Warriors. So it's just one more outside thing.
By the way, that game was played in 1 hour and 57